Hey everyone. Wow, what an incredible day of sports, night of sports, weekend of sports. But congratulations to the 2017, and I guess we would have to say 2017 2018 Golden State Warriors for once again, for the fourth straight year, winning the NBA Western Conference Finals. This time in fine fashion, 101-92 over the Houston Rockets. Wow. Barry Lee says Houston, 7 of 44 at the three-point line, very bad. And that included a record 27 straight misses at the three line. 27 straight. Hey, tweet this out, please. Hashtag NBA Finals. Thank you very much. Good to see you too again, by the way. Hey, Barry Lee, tell me, you live in Texas. You are not a Houston Rockets fan or a San Antonio Spurs fan. What's up? What's up with the or are you? Or maybe I'm wrong. Well, I know you're not a Rockets fan because you would have been rooting for. But what say you about fandom in Texas? How does that work from your standpoint? Uh, I gotta change this format and get more people to call in, or you know what? Maybe I'll do that another time. But I was gonna say maybe you want to chime in on the phone type line, maybe, and give us your thoughts. That might be something to do. In fact, hey, if you're up for that, I want to try a different format and liven things up a little bit. Do you mind? San Antonio is a class act city when it comes to the Spurs. Hey, Barry, you mind if I call you in via Skype and get you on, get your view of things? I want to liven things up here. It's always this me talking kind of thing. And I thought, why not? I can, change up a little bit, right? If so, email me your number and I'll call you via Skype, okay? I think that should work pretty well. Or if, your call. But just thought it would be a cool way to liven the stuff up, as they say. And so, okay. And let's see here. You up for that? Barry says, can't, my internet is bad and my phone is cheap. Okay, got it. Otherwise we do it. His internet is bad and his phone is cheap. That's it. His internet is bad and his phone is cheap. Ms. Zeitgeist, welcome. How are you? Ms. Zeitgeist says 7 of 44 from the three line. The Rockets beat themselves. Yeah. And Donis said Warriors need to step up their game. And, I would have to say the Rockets down the stretch, that was an obvious difference. You can't put it on anything, but except that their threes, for the most part, were rushed. And someone said the Rockets beat themselves. They did. They had the lead. They could have held on to it. But also something else. You have to chalk it up to inexperience. It's one thing, and I think this is really something to consider. And Barry Lee says right that he was a beast. Absolutely. I think there's something to consider though, and that is that it's one thing to, as the Rockets did, rebuild your team, right, for the purpose of ostensibly beating the Golden State Warriors, but you can't rebuild. You can't fake experience. I mean, you just can't. You can get all the all-stars you want to, but if your all-stars, like Chris Paul, for example, are inexperienced, you're just, that's something you've got to live with. And I'm not saying that, now your retort would be, well, Chris Paul didn't play, but he didn't. I'm not leaning it all on him. James Harden, Eric Gordon, pick the person, and they don't have experience down the stretch as a team like the Warriors have to deal with what happens when your game goes south and you have to recover it in the middle of Game 7. The Warriors have extensive experience at that. Houston doesn't. And I think that was the real difference. To say that the Rockets had that 7-44 record, to me, isn't so much a matter of them beating themselves as their nerves getting to them. You rush a shot, and rather than working on your technique, rather than thinking about basketball, you're thinking about winning the game. So there's a vast difference. There's a saying, not so much a saying, but a quote that I think it was Jim Turner, the Broncos kicker, gave to Sports Illustrated after the Broncos lost Super Bowl 12 to the Dallas Cowboys 27-10. He said, we were out there thinking about winning, and they, talking about the Dallas Cowboys, were out there thinking about football. And I really believe that applies to this series. You know, it wasn't the Cavs in a number of times. The Cavs had situations where, not the Cavs, excuse me, the Rockets had situations where they could have put the Warriors away, and they didn't, because the Warriors' experience came to save them. But there's no game for which that is more true than this Game 7. I'll get your quotes. Donna says, Warriors need to step up the game. And CJW Gaming says, I think that only Draymond, Livingston Bell, and Zaza Pachulia are the only good defenders on the Warriors. Everyone else is below average. Do you agree? I think Thompson and Curry can be good defenders off the transition, okay? So I don't agree with that entirely. And CJW says maybe Gavel. Ms. Zeitgeist says LeBron's team is worse than last year. He has to play like Superman for 48 minutes to barely beat the Celtics and see their two-man scorers, Kyrie Irving and sans their two-man scorers, Kyrie Irving, turn mean scorers. I think she means Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Yeah, and don't forget he did it this time without Kevin Love. John Marks, hey John Marks, how you doing? Welcome back. Joseph Bensman, hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Zenny62 live stream, by the way. Joseph Bensman says Rockets couldn't afford to miss that many threes and have no contribution from Ariza. Really a shame CP3 couldn't finish out the series. Rockets might well have won him with him. Barry Lee says, you really think Oakland needs to plan for parade again? I have much respect for the Warriors, and it starts with the coaching staff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you should, just by the logistics of having a parade of that size anyway. Although it may be in San Francisco this time. I hope not. But Ms. Zeitgeist says, no, I don't agree. Klay Thompson held Kyrie Irving below 11%, his average for the finals last year. So Ms. Zeitgeist is taking on you, CJW, saying, no, you've got to remember that, okay? John Marks says, Oakland needs to put a parade on after they beat the Cavs. Cowboy Wrestler says, do you think ABC is getting tired of Cavs Warriors for the finals? I think no, I don't. I think that, and here's the reason. It's a matter of population size. I think that there would have been, I mean, I'll say this. Let me put it an entirely other way. My hypothesis tells me that Cavs Warriors is going to be better rated than Rockets Cavs. And the reason why I say that is because I'm thinking about population size of the Bay Area, population size of Houston. I'm thinking about the popularity of the Warriors right now. They're now nationwide. They're a truly dub nation. And I'm thinking about all that. I'm thinking about Dub Nation, you know? I really am. This is something, though, you know? there is something here, by the way, it's been pointed out to me, my image is shown backward. And it is backward. That is interesting. And I'm wondering if, that's something else. I wonder if it has, I wonder why that is. I've got, that is interesting. I noticed that the other day. My image is backward. I mean, well, from this perspective, I've got, and actually as I look at this, what it is the image I'm seeing on my camera here is the image, the actual image. In other words, this is my right, the window's on my right. When I look at the image here, it looks like it's on my left. It's really interesting. Let me try something real quick. Just give me one second. I just want to try a hypothesis here. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay. That's interesting. Let's see if it rotates. Ooh. Okay. Hold on. That's interesting. Hold on. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. That's interesting. It won't. So you're getting sick. Sorry about that. It won't turn around the other way. So I tried, changing that. You're getting seasick. It won't turn it around the other way. I would see the cord is on this side, right? And it's it's interesting, folks. If you're wondering why I am rotating it, what's going on is that I'm using my iPhone 8, and the orientation is such that for whatever reason, my logo here, my Super Bowl logo, is coming in reverse, and the room is reversed. Okay, which but yeah, the room is reversed, and it may very well have been that it's been this way for some time, and I just never noticed it. But look, I'm looking at the correct orientation on my screen. Okay, I'm looking at the correct orientation on my screen. If I look, if I look down here though, I'm looking at an orientation that I don't recognize. All right, that's really wild. So it's like, I mean, it really is reversed. Okay, and no, I didn't switch over the other side of the room. I don't know how this happened. Spider-Man does whatever Spider can. And Barry Lee says, "Are you using the front camera where you can see the screen?" So it's I've always used the selfie camera on here, always. I haven't changed anything. Nothing has changed. Nothing. I've just done my thing, right? And so when I oriented this, sometimes I would have the orientation. No, I've always had the orientation this way, where, in other words, where the home button was always on this side. And that's how I have it right now. The home button is on this side, and the selfie camera is this way, okay? I've always had it like that. I've never had it the other way, where the home button was here. It's always been on the right side. I've always used my videos that way and then spun them around. This is the first time I've had this kind of orientation. Barry Lee says, yeah, the selfie camera, but there are settings you can go into to flip it. Where I had portrait mode locked, right? Because normally you're supposed to flip it around, like, in other words, let me put it this way. You should start reading comments backwards too. That's funny. If I flip it like this, right, its orientation is locked, okay? But if I do this, you see, I'm live, but I'm backward, okay? And this is the correct way. All right? I'm backward, right? So it's not letting me, turn around, okay? So I have to go back this way, all right? So that's correct. Sorry about that. You see what I'm getting at? Woohoo! All right. So that's the way it is. I have to talk to them about why that is, but there it is, okay? Anyway. So, hey, Sean Grogan, how you doing? Sean says, you should start reading the comments backwards too. And Barry Lee says, it's okay, we can see you though. Oh yeah, no, I mean, everything is, whatever it is, right? Barry, Game Tuts TV says, the NBA is such a mess. The same two teams have made the finals the last 4 years. Ms. Zeitgeist says, Colin Cowherd predicted a Warriors sweep. I am predicting that I completely believe, I completely 1,000,000% believe that the Cavaliers will steal game. And I think that the Warriors are going into a situation without Andre Iguodala. You could see a situation with the Cavaliers where you get Kevin Love back, maybe you have a surprise, maybe one of the two, Irvin Hayward, come back. That, I don't know if I haven't checked to see if it's a possibility, but it is a possibility. I will agree. I'll say Warriors in 6. I'm going to say Warriors in 6. I'm not predicting a sweep. I'm not ready to predict a sweep. Andre Iguodala is still day to day. Okay. So right now it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go. And I'm really concerned that we may be seeing a Cavaliers team of destiny with respect to LeBron James. So I'm not going to count out LeBron and predict a Warriors sweep. I cannot bring myself to do that, okay? I just can't, all right? So I'm going to say the Warriors in 6. Unless Iguodala decides that he can go, then it's Warriors in 5. But I'm keeping a wary eye on the Cavaliers because I believe they're not going to go into this NBA Finals shorthanded as they wound up playing Game 7 last Sunday night. So I can't see them desirous of that scenario. I just can't. So no, not at all. Joseph Binsman says, I will give you the same prediction I have for Western Conference, Warriors in 6. Barry Lee says, is it me or is ESPN getting worse with the pregame and postgame coverage because they were in the studio instead of the arena for the East Game 7? I'll tell you who has the best coverage and I believe treats the NBA with an entertaining programming, and that's TNT. I love watching the finals on TNT, the conference finals on TNT. I love the inside the NBA team with, of course, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and the incomparable Charles Barkley. And you have to see them at CES live. If you've never done that in your life, make a trip to CES just to see them on Thursday evening at 4 o'clock over at the Sands Expo. They put on a fantastic show, a lot of fun, lots of cool people hanging out there. They're there until like 11 o'clock at night, and they really bring their A game. They really do. So when I think of TNT versus ESPN, it's like this is TNT, okay, and this is ESPN. ESPN just has more money, so they've got the finals. But I think the NBA ought to figure out some kind of way of weaseling in the TNT into the mix again for the finals. That's just me, all right? Rob Byman says, thank you, veterans. We salute you. And I second that, Rob Byman. Thank you very much. For that, Ms. Zeitgeist says, I think TNT is the best with Kenny, Shaq, I think she means, in Barkley. Barry Lee says, yeah, TNT is the best. Too bad they can't cover the NBA Finals. They can't. That's ESPN. And John Marks says, TNT is great under the NBA. I remember the NFL on TNT. Rob Iman says, Ernie Johnson is a great person. He seems to be. Have you met him? I haven't. John Marks says, agreed. Cowboy Wrestler says, I wish Turner would partner with CBS on NBA coverage like they do with college basketball. CJW Gaming says, Lillard traded, CJ traded, Wiggins traded, DeRozan traded, Lowry, Cousins traded, Schroeder traded. A lot of questions this offseason. Rob Iman says, I would love to see Marv or Kevin Harlan announce the finals games. That would be something as well. I would like, I like, I like the situation as it is in terms of uh, who calls. Oh, wait a minute. Marv calling it is something that, there's no one better than Marv. So I have to take that back. I was thinking about TNT, and then I realized in the middle of my sentence, wait a minute, TNT is not coming back. I'm so used to seeing them, and at such a high level of greatness that, hey, what can you say, right? They just don't have any comparison. Now the question is, why is ESPN so doggone boring? And I think because they have great and knowledgeable players, right? But I think that the problem with the guys they have are that they, how do I put it? I think they're not quite as relaxed, okay? And I'll just say it. Look, Kenny is more your kind of intellectually delivered, baller, right? And then Charles Barkley is more your street guy who made it. Shaq is more your, when I say street guy, I mean, he just has a colloquial way of expressing himself. And he talks like brothers on the street. Hey, right? And a lot of people today can relate to that. Same with Shaq. And I'll just have to say this candidly, there's been a gigantic change in how people, and the expectations of people with respect to broadcasting. Because it used to be that, I remember a long time ago when Magic Johnson was on, and you didn't see a lot of black folks calling or being even a color announcer for NBA Finals. And people would say, well, Magic can't talk and all this. But Magic was talking. He was just using a vernacular of the street. He wasn't biting his words, like I'm doing, biting my words, right? And not everyone does. But the normal person watching the game can understand what he's saying because he is the kind of person that most of us are used to talking to on the plane, in a bar, in the office. It doesn't matter, okay? So between those points in the late 80s and today, and late 90s and today, we've had a dramatic sea change. I think thanks to the mainstream of a lot of black culture, to be frank, and it's been really great. The mainstream of black culture and the proliferation of hip hop, and of course generational change. You combine all that to where it's more common to have people on who don't, as I say, speak the Queen's English perfectly, but you understand them and you love them. And that's TNT. ESPN is more, they speak the Queen's English perfectly. They're not as interesting. All right. And because they're more focused on being precise in their talk as opposed to being funny, as opposed to making fun of each other in a way that doesn't look forced. And that, okay, TNT is that. They make fun of each other. It's like their family. It comes off that way. That's not true ESPN. It's really like they're really kind of buttoned up. That's how they come off. And so it's a different set of folks, different set of our folks, black folks. And not to denigrate anybody, and because I'm fearing being misunderstood, because these are conversations the conversation I'm having with you all about this is a conversation that I could have at a dinner table, with my mother or relatives or friends, and they would say, oh yeah, right. So I'd like to feel that this is that kind of forum, even if you're just watching this for the first time and it's not the live stream, it's video on demand. But it has to be said, it has to be mentioned that we've had a dramatic social change that I think is for the better. And it's more, what would the term be, egalitarian, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I really believe that would be the best. I think that's the most, the best way to explain it. All right, as to why TNT is so much better with inside the NBA than ESPN. Okay, and that's I really think so. Now, the other question is, how will the ratings go? I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think the ratings are not going to be so great. They're just not, okay? And they're not going to be the worst in NBA Finals history, but they're not going to be the best unless it goes past game 6, game 5. If it goes past game 5, it'll kick up. Hey, everybody, welcome to Zenny62 on YouTube. Nice you're here. Do you want to see Warriors Cavs 4 again? Just asking, okay? Just want to know what you think about that. And if you want Warriors Cavs, if you're cool with it, put a yes or Y. If you're not cool with it, put a no. This is going to be really interesting. It is going to be fascinatingly interesting to see this, see how this plays out, okay? See how this plays out here, all right? Okay, now, I want to have some fun here. We'll get your comments, all right. ML Scott, how you doing? Says yes. Barry Lee says yes. Mike Zulum says yes. Ms. Zeitgeist, yes. John Mark says yes, but I wanted the Celtics and Warriors on CBS. You got part of it. And Mike Zulum says, go Warriors. John Mark says, I'm 49. I remember the NBA coverage on CBS. Philly born and raised, 4 for 4 says no. Philly born and raised, welcome to Zenny62 on YouTube. I am very happy you're here, and hope you enjoy your time here, and I hope you're truly brand new and not, old wine in a new bottle, right? In other words, one of those trolls. But Ms. Zeitgeist says next year will probably be the Warriors Celtics versus the Celtics, or maybe Warriors Cavs 5. Somewhere in here, I keep expecting someone to evoke, and no one has yet. Jason from Friday the 13th. How many Friday the 13ths have there been? You tell me. Joseph Bismuth says, we are going to get it anyway, laugh out loud, but yes. Hey, so who wants to play call-in? Who can I call in if you'll have a comment? I want to liven things up a little bit here. Who's up for it? I know Barry Lee says his phone's not good. How about you, Joseph Bismuth? You want to chime in verbally for a few minutes? Can I give you a BU buzz? If I can, let me know. Just say Y or in or whatever. Rob Iman says Lakers are going to challenge. How about you, ML Scott? What say you? Lakers are going to challenge the Warriors next season. Let's see here. Wait a minute, Rob. Lakers are going to, you say, give you a second? Okay, cool. Ms. Zeitgeist says, if the Cavaliers had a better front office, Warriors versus Cavs would be the new Lakers versus Celtics rivalry. Interesting. So, can you, Ms. Zeitgeist, what's wrong, in your view, with the Cavs front office? John Marks says, come on down, John Marks. Yeah, come on down, John Marks. Hey, welcome to Zenny62, by the way, folks. Nice to have everybody here. And John Marks says, 12 Friday the 13th movies. Holy 12? That's insane. 12? Mike Zoom says, 4 years in a row to be in the finals is amazing for us longtime Warriors fans. Beat the Cavs. Hey, Mike, are you in the Bay Area? Just out of curiosity, are you Oakland dweller? Where are you located? John Mark says, yes, I counted the number of finals ML says, I'm on a movie set now. Whoa, ML, wait a minute. You're making a movie? Fill us in. What's the movie? Oh, and Mike Zulin's in Santa Cruz. Hey, home of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk and some interesting experiences I've had down there over the years. But ML, what's the movie? ML Scott says the movie is called My Son and Nephew. Is that right? Or you're down there with your son and nephew on a movie set? To try to figure out which it is. Hey, Joseph Bensman, when you're ready, just shoot me I think I've got your phone number already. I may, yeah. So, it is, okay, yeah, I've got it actually. So yeah, I do have it, okay, yeah, whenever you're ready. So when you're ready, give me a thumbs up and I'll give you a buzz. And so he says, Joseph says, so many Jason movies, yeah, I'm ready, give you a call. Okay, all right, folks, Joseph Bensman's gonna be our special live talking guest on Zenny 62. So here we go. I haven't done this in quite a while, and get the dial pad fired up here. This is gonna be what does it say? This is going to be awesome. Yes, this is going to be awesome. So yeah, here we go. And dialing the number. And there. I have a tendency to shout out numbers, but I'm resisting that tendency right now for what should be obvious reasons, right? All right. And okay. Wait a minute. What? Oh man. Let's see here. This damn thing, it's Skype thingy. Oh boy. Oh, let's see here. Okay. Yeah, what's going on with Skype? Oh. I am beginning to hate Skype. Forgot to fix this thing. Oh. Try it one more time. Okay. Let's see here. But that. Trying to fix something with Skype. Or hey, Joseph Bensman, are you on Skype? Or can I send you an invite? So while that's happening, let's see. I think what I'll do is, because this is being weird again. I thought I had this licked. All right. And Rob Iman says, I'm now on Periscope. I hate Periscope. ML Scott says, yep. Oh, I get it. Okay. Joseph says, do I need to? It's not your laptop. No, not at all. It's Skype. It's not you. It's not me. It's Skype. let me put it that way. It's not you. It's not me. It's Skype. Does that make sense? It's Skype. So let's try that again. Okay. Oh, I get it. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm getting a shoes. What's going on is that it's got me bypassed to a certain deal here. And I can't seem to can't wait a minute. This is weird. Okay. Skype says I have credit, and yet it's asking me to add credit, which is really bizarre. I mean, I don't get that. Okay, I've got credit on Skype, and yet it's asking me to add more money as if I don't have any. Okay, that's weird. So maybe this is, oh, hey, I think we're getting somewhere. Hear that? There's a ringy dingy. Like in Laughing, it was like one ringy dingy. Hey, Joseph, that's you. Hello. Hello?
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 Hey, Joseph, that's you.
Yeah, that's
Hello.
yeah. Your lap. So
Hello?
we've made contact with Mr. Binsman. He just needs to turn down the sound on his laptop, and we're good to go. How you doing? Hello.
I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding. Hey, so this is great. So we can one of these days we'll start the party line, but this is a great, fantastic start. So rather than me reading your comments, what did you think of this game 7, and what are you looking forward to as we go into the NBA Finals, Warriors Cavs for the 4th straight time? And are you tired of it?
Uh, I think the sense around my friends and people I know who follow the game is they're getting tired of it. But there are a lot of LeBron fans. I think some people who are more caught up in the moment of today where they either don't remember Michael as much or they just, LeBron is all to them. And there are a good amount of people looking forward to it. I want to see the matchup again just because LeBron really impressed me this postseason and last series against the Celtics.
And hey, Rob Iman says he uses Hangouts on the air to pipe other people through. That's an idea, Rob. However, I don't know with Hangouts that I get video ads and credit for that, so I haven't tried it for that reason. And also with Hangouts, the trouble is that if I post this, it doesn't come up as a live. I don't think it comes up as a live stream where you can just tune into it from anywhere. If you go to zenny62.com or Zenny62 on YouTube, it says live, and you can come right on in. Okay, but this is with Hangouts. It seems more like it's a closed group system with people that you know, and others can't really chime in the same way. So that's why I haven't done it this way. This is more like radio to me, you know. Hey, so Joseph, who's your favorite basketball player? Period.
My favorite basketball player and favorite player in any sport ever is Patrick Ewing.
Whoa! Reaching back to the Wayback Machine to bring up his Georgetown eminence, as I used to call him, Patrick Ewing. What is it about Patrick Ewing as a player that you like?
Well, my dad started me watching basketball early. I think I can remember games when I was 2 or 3. And I just watched the Knicks growing up. Ewing, was just awesome for me when he lifted his hands to the crowd, and he really felt like he was New York basketball. And those teams in the 90s, they were just a group of warriors. They left it all on the court, and he really did that for 15 years. And plus, watching him play, I wasn't a guy like him, but I learned low post moves and how to be a big man from watching him. And when I played middle school basketball, I was a foot shorter or half foot shorter than guys who were playing power forward or center, but I knew how to play him and do well because I remembered watching Patrick Ewing's moves.
Hey, let's have some fun. Let's read some of the comments, and I'm trying a different format and see if I can advance the media tech again in terms of how media tech is used. Pick out comments that you want to respond to as you see them. John Mark says Patrick Ewing is the bomb, and he says once he gets it online, he'll do that. And John Mark says, I wonder, does Twitter do live streams? You have to use Periscope. John Mark says, no Raiders tonight. Well, not exactly. Bob Byman says he usually just pipes Periscope to Twitter. You see anything you want to respond to on there, Joseph?
Yeah, the Patrick Ewing was the bomb. He was to me. I really liked that era of guys, not just Ewing, but guys like Karl Malone and Olajuwon, who never left their teams, who left it all out on the court. And Patrick, he had Michael to deal with, but he gave Michael a battle every time. So I just loved watching him for that.
Well, hey, this is a question for the flock, yourself, everybody on. Who is your favorite player? We know it's Patrick Ewing for Mr. Bensman, but anybody else? John Marks. John Marks says he remembers the Georgetown. What about Rob? What about, well, Malcontent's not here. What about you, Barry Lee? Barry Lee, are you with us, or are you about to head off to Z-Land? Z's. But, and we've got about 19 here. What say the rest of you, or chime in on this? Hey, while we're talking about this, as far as live stream, just to finish that thought, what I like about this is when I turn on a live stream, if you happen to do a search for, let's say, Warriors 101, Rockets 92, and you did search it on Google, and you found this video, it would say live, okay? So the ability to attract people from a wider spread is better this way than if I used Google Hangouts or just having the links. This is more organic. It's just a matter of finding the right keyword combinations at the right time with the right broadcast. For example, I have, not to belabor a point, but there was it was the Grammys, and I decided to live stream the Grammys and live talk it. And at one point, I had 600 people streaming through here. That was overwhelming because the thing was going, couldn't understand what people are getting at. So, but the point is, if you find the right mark, you can get a lot of people. And in my case, that translates into dollars because I'm a YouTube partner. So that's the other reason, the other method to my madness here. And hey, so Joseph, John Mark. Hey, Joseph, why don't you read what John Marks is putting up there?
John Marks says, I remember him during his days at Georgetown. He says, does everyone remember the 85 NBA draft where the Warriors got the 7th pick of the new lottery draft version? As he might be planned, but Pan to Al. Adam's laughing at the rotten luck.
I know Al. Al Wells is a great guy. I do remember that, absolutely. Mike Zulin says, currently Steph Curry, Rick Barry, and when he was a teen, those are his favorites. Wait. When you were a teen, you were your favorite player. I love this. Mike Zulum was his own favorite player when he was a teenager. You must have been good, dude. John Mark says, I know the Warriors wanted Patrick Ewing. I remember that. They couldn't afford him. And John Mark says, my favorite Warriors are Rick Barry and Clifford Ray. That's what he says. And he also says the original Beard Man, the current Beard Man is James Harden. James Harden looks like, what's that character that has the giant beard? It's a character that he's got this huge beard, and he sometimes appears, I think it's called Mr. Lucky? It's a character from the 60s. Joseph, you remember that? Remember the cartoonist Robert Crumb? And I think he had Mr. Lucky. Mr. Lucky had this huge beard. Every time I see James Harden, I think of Mr. Lucky playing basketball. So, I got to ask you while I got you on the phone, what do you think about your New York Giants?
I like the way the season's shaping up so far. Solder is taking Eric Flowers under his wing, and hopefully that'll push Flowers to being better than he's ever been. Because right now, I feel for the guy, but he's kind of like a number one bust, a round one bust for us. So I really hope Solder can work some magic. Mentoring him, I think Will Hernandez is a plug-in start at guard. He's a real beast. I think Barkley's going to hit the ground running, and I hope OBJ is healthy again, because then the vertical game is going to be there too. I have full faith in Eli. I'm really happy the organization got behind him again, got past the awful mistake the former coach did. It really seems like we could have a special year. I hope we're healthy enough and ready.
Hey, John Marks has a question down there for you. You see it?
Yeah, he says, go NY Giants beat the Cowgirls this year. Yep, that's what I want. And this year, the Giants and Cowboys won't be opening the season. They'll be playing week 2. So I'll be looking forward to that.
Who's your opener?
I'm not sure.
We'll have to find. Let's see the Giants. Find out real quick what the Giants. NY Giants.
It's the Jaguars.
2018. Oh, it's the Jaguars. Ooh. 2018 schedule. Hey, by the way, since we're talking about other sports right now, other than NBA for a moment, congratulations to the Las Vegas Golden Knights beating the Washington Capitals in Stanley Cup action game 1, 6-4. I watched the first part of that. I don't know if anybody else here did, but I have to say that is one incredible sports story. What do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, I saw a bit of that game, flipping back and forth. It was a hard-hitting game, and 10 goals for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup. I hope you're ready to watch a fun series, people.
Yeah, is that a record? 10 goals? Is that a record?
Very well could be. Yeah, that's pretty high. I've never heard of that before in a Game 1.
Did you see the pregame introductions for the Golden Knights?
No, I didn't get a chance to see that.
Oh, watch the next time, because MGM is the owner of T-Mobile, right? And they put on a show. It is the most elaborate, complex, entertaining opening I've ever seen to any sporting game. Any. And they start off with the flags from the different teams, and there's this disembodied female kind of medieval voice talking about how the Golden Knights have vanquished their opponents, and they've got the pyrotechnics and the lights and the actors at different stationed at different parts of the arena. It's Las Vegas, it's over the top, right? And I was watching that and I'm thinking, as much as I hate the idea of the Raiders leaving Oakland, I have to admit, candidly, that I'm quite excited over the possibilities that the Raiders bring at their own stadium in Las Vegas if they do anything like that, because it is about entertainment. So, you have to watch that. And John Mark says, I just might root for the Golden Knights. Kevin KD says, I would never root for the Golden Knights. No, go Caps. Philly born and raised 4-4 says, your Giants are going to have to beat as super champions. Uh-oh. He's talking some scrap. He's talking smack, Joe. He's saying that the Philly Eagles are gonna punk you all again, man. What do you say about that?
Well, it's good for them. They finally got a title. Everyone deserves one, and I always feel like a title every time I'm in Philly getting a cheesesteak. So there's that.
There you go, Philly. And John Mark says, I'll never root for the Vegas Raiders. Kevin KD says, I've only been in Vegas twice in my life. It's very, very garish. Mike Zulin says, I love Las Vegas, all right. Mike Zulin says, go Caps. There are no long-suffering fans in Vegas. That's true. John Mark says, well, actually, that's not true, because now the Buffalo Bills fan that relocated to Las Vegas can be a long-suffering Bills fan, knowing the Bills are going to visit the Raiders at some point in the future, all over again. Just saying. It's a bit of a little asterisk there. And John Mark says, but I might root for the Golden Knights. Kevin KD says, and claustrophobic. Kevin KD says, Mike Zulin, true. Malcontent, how you doing? He says, the Golden Knights have done that type of elaborate intro for each round of the playoffs tailored to each opponent. That's something else. I mean, that's some skill there. Hey, so Joseph, watching all this from afar, what do you think of the future of the NFL with all this relocation and the anthem stuff and everything else?
Well, first to tackle the relocations, I just hope in the end that we can get franchises back somehow for loyal cities like St. Louis and San Diego. I don't even call the Chargers LA. I still call them San Diego. It's just, where the loyal fans are, and where the NFL money mine is.
Yeah, don't forget Oakland. You left out Oakland.
In Oakland too.
Yeah.
It's sad. I remember Charles Woodson, I think, in his last game was shouting to the fans, we got to get Oakland to stay here and giving love to the crowd. And
Yep.
it's a shame it doesn't seem it's going to work that way.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a failure of economic development. We in Oakland have forgotten how to do economic development. And I thought about it today. I thought I've done everything I can do. And but you can't work against the system that really doesn't really want to do anything. And we can't, and I'm talking about the Oakland system. We have a lot of problems in Oakland, and it's reflected in our persistent homeless population, our lack of affordable housing, our lack of jobs that other than tech that where you can get a convention centers. It's reflective in the fact that we seem to have a situation where if you live in Oakland, you're always looking at, and it's going to be more so in the future, events somewhere else. It's like this is going to be the last year that we have, well, the last year and a half where we have all three teams, and no one seems to care. But that equals job opportunities. It equals a lot of intangibles. For example, one thing that struck me when I was watching these Stanley Cup finals is that Las Vegas finally gets a chance to be a destination city such that it's mentioned. It's mentioned over and over again because it has a team that it is in its own name, the Golden Knights. It's not had that before. And so now it gets this new marketing at a time I think really when it needs it because, where casinos seem to be going, you know what I mean? Have you been to Vegas? Or do you think, have you been, let me ask you another question. Vegas versus Atlantic City. First, have you been to Atlantic City?
Yes, I've been there numerous times.
What's it like? And how would you compare it to Las Vegas? This is a cool conversation. How would you compare it to Las Vegas?
Well, I would declare Atlantic City the original Vegas, but when they went out to Vegas, they really made it big time. But it's kind of cool to have a Vegas-style city by the beach. That's really the appeal of Atlantic City. You get a nice hotel, you get a beautiful ocean view. So, if you don't want to play games, you can just walk the boardwalk or go to the beach. I like that switch up.
Huh. And Kevin KD says, John Mark says Libby Schaff is not the answer. Yeah, but there's nobody's going to... Well, Rebecca Kaplan's supposed to run against Libby. I broke that story yesterday. Tomorrow at 8:30, I'm having on as a guest Nancy Sidebotham, who's running for mayor, I think, for the third time. She's the person who told me that Rebecca Kaplan, who's the Oakland District at-large council member, is going to run again. She's coming on to talk about that in Oakland, her run, and everything else. But Mike Zulin asks, I think someone says that they hope there's an agreement to sue the Raiders. I have a feeling that's going to happen, maybe, but I have two sources that told me it's a matter of time. But see, I don't know if matter of time is like tweak or this month or next month. John Marks, you have to remember also the Raiders are due to sign a lease to stay, so there's some complicated issues there. John Marks says, I want the city of Oakland to sue the Raiders big time. Kevin KD says, John Marks, me too. John Marks says, nope, Mike Zulam, I'm along with you, brother. And John Marks then says, Oakland needs to step up and do something. I agree. And I think we need to have a plan for sports that carries us through the future. We don't have a sports commission. We have nothing. We have people who just don't care. John Marks says, tell Mark Davis to take the job and whatever. Mike Zulin says, thanks, John. John Mark says, is Rebecca Kaplan the answer to Oakland's problems? I think that that's a good question. I think the answer to Oakland's problems can't be solved by any one person. I think there has to be a collective decision to move in a direction of development of jobs, in a development of convention space, and development of sports. I'm not convinced that any one person can do it, but I am convinced that we've forgotten how to run government, and I'm convinced, I'm concerned that I can go on and on. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be rude to my guest here. I don't know. What do you think about this whole thing about Oakland and suing. I guess for me, Joseph, I've lived with this problem since what the problem of interaction in Oakland I've lived this with since 1988, and I guess maybe now that I'll be 56 years old, I'm probably getting tired, and I'm thinking of something that Elihu Harris had told me uh, years ago, actually, when I worked for him toward the tail end of my working for him. He said, take those brains and use them on yourself because, as you can see, no one cares. He cared. He was the mayor, right? But he was candidly telling me about the fact that uh, there are people, even on his staff, I'm not even going to name names, who just they were just sort of going through the motions. They didn't really care about Oakland, and I don't sense that there are people who uniformly, as a large group, care so much about Oakland that they're willing to step up and do something. And Oakland makes it hard for people to do that. And I don't understand why that is and the way our city is constructed, but I've lived with it for over a generation, and I've seen it. And I'm not going to hope it. I'm not going to say it's changing. In fact, what's going on around the country with respect to Oakland is that the things that made Oakland so attractive, like diversity and beauty, particularly diversity, are now around the country. Okay, the United States is heavily diverse. You see interracial pairings everywhere on commercials and everything. It's beautiful, right? And that used to be just Oakland. Oakland doesn't have that advantage anymore. So it's like, that's just, that's how I look at it. Now Oakland seems like it wants to be a bedroom community of San Francisco. I don't know, what do you think about what I'm saying, Joseph?
Well, yeah. It's like with this the past election, 2016. It's like a blip on the radar. They won't be able to stop the turn of the tide. Eventually, major cities and any cities really, like Oakland, Newark, Detroit, they're all becoming diverse, and I don't see anything to stop that momentum. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of that old hate out there that some people are raised with, unfortunately. But hopefully, as the new generations keep coming, that keeps dying away.
Oh yeah, and it definitely is. But as that happens, Oakland loses that cultural advantage. It becomes just sort of like any other place. It's like, okay, fine. And the internet's tearing our society apart, and so now we get Barbecue Becky. And I've seen that lady around there. Jennifer Schulte. I've seen her around. She's seemingly an interesting bird. Obviously now she's an interesting bird, and she's even been immortalized on Saturday Night Live. But boy, oh boy. Now, Kevin KD says mid-zeitgeist, he might as well talking about John Gruden, because Ms. Zeitgeist asked the question, does anyone else think that a huge contract of John Gruden, the $100 million one, is a mistake that's going to come back to haunt Mark Davis? Yes, I do. I do. And this comes from a person who's a big fan of John Gruden. $100 million is a lot, and a lot of money, but the haunt will come in a different way, because I think that if the Raiders don't win this year, look to the box 44 at the Coliseum and see if somebody tries to throw a chair out of the window. Mark spent a lot of money, and so he expects a return on his investment. The return wins, just like he spent that money on Derek Carr last year and wanted the wins and didn't come. They went 6-10, and then look what he did. He broke everybody up. So the question is, look, John Gruden's going to get his $100 million. It's guaranteed. As I understand, it's guaranteed. I mean, he's got to pay him. I mean, what do you think about that, Joseph?
So he's got to pay.
Mark Davis has to pay John Gruden $100 million.
Yeah, I was thinking that reminds me of when my Knicks gave Allen Houston $100 million, and I love Allen Houston, but he wasn't worth $100 million. I sure hope works out for the Raiders.
Not at all. Hey, I know you got things to do, and I'm gonna chime out at 2:00, so I'm gonna let you go, Joe. And
sure.
But I'll see you tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing about the anthem.
Fire away.
Well, basically, I think the NFL made a mistake with its recent anthem rule, and there's rising talk now that a lot of players are thinking about sitting out at the start of this year. I guess we'll see how that plays out this summer. But basically, a lot of people just don't understand why in the beginning Kaepernick took a knee, and it's got nothing to do with the flag, honestly. It's about the mechanism of America, how the system is slanted against certain people. And I would say for people who don't understand, in particular, no offense to white people who don't understand, is they have to ask certain questions like this. Do white people ever die like Trayvon Martin? Do they ever die like Sandra Bland? Do they ever die like Philando Castillo? I don't really think people are asking those kinds of tough questions and having tough debates about that. So that's really why Kaepernick is protesting in the way he is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's extremely eloquent. I agree with you. And John Mark says I agree with you, bro. And I yeah, absolutely think I couldn't have put it any better. The problem for me, and I was at the NFL owners meeting a week ago. Wow, I hate how time flies. I wish I could get time to slow down. But what went through my head as I watched the commissioner's press conference on the anthem was that you have a league with a commissioner that has been around, I believe, through 3 presidents: Bush, Obama, and now Trump. And the NFL could, from a PR perspective, control the narrative with respect to Trump and protect their players. But you have certain owners like Jerry Jones who would prefer to side with Trump. And I understand his perspective. It has to do with the fear of losing tax benefits and other related benefits that, like the antitrust exemption. The NFL has a sort of a modified version of that. So, but they could figure out a way to get Trump out of the way, if you will, and control the narrative, and they haven't done it. They've allowed him to control it and make the NFL look bad in the process, and like the NFL make it look like the NFL is not thinking about its players. So I'm disappointed in how the league chose to conduct this, and I'm also disappointed that it seems like it's more even. I'm also disappointed with the players because, look, the NBA has an even tougher rule. They don't say you can go in the locker room and protest, okay? They say you have to stand in a dignified posture, whatever that is. But no one complains about the NBA. I have a theory as to why that is. But the NFL's like, and even having a conversation with my mom, and she goes, I don't want to talk about it. You don't understand. And I think what it is that there is an assumption that I can encapsulate it this way, Joseph. It's like this, and others. It's like this. It reminds me of when I was watching the Tennessee Titans and the Colts game that came on here years ago, and we had the family here from Tennessee, and Peyton Manning was the quarterback, but Tony Dungy was the head coach of the Colts. And I remarked that I was a big Dungy fan, and everyone else was a fan, I think, of the Titans because they had, I think it was Vince Young, quarterback, who's black. And we had a conversation where I said, it's interesting how you seem to value a black quarterback, but you don't value a black person who's actually running the team. And that really was wild to me. And I think what psychologically, we see black players in the NBA, you see their face, you see coaches who are black on a normal basis, and so you have this assumption that the NBA is fairer than the NFL, and they don't do everything in a way that's more above board, and that may, with respect to race, and that may be, but in my experience with the NFL, I don't see that to the degree I think the public imagines that it's there, okay? And that allows the NBA to get away with having a no protest rule. That's what they have. They have a no protest rule. So when I thought about that, my line of thought then switched to this. Why isn't anyone talking about how the league, players, coaches, executives, owners, can get together as one and fashion a program to help reduce incidents of police brutality in the communities where those players come from? I thought that was the whole issue. And it seems to me that the real reason for the protest is lost even among the NFL itself. You know what I mean? Just, you know, that's my take on it, you know. And so Ms. Zeitgeist says, well, she's talking about Gruden. Says Gruden has been away for a long time. And Malcontent says, that's an excellent question. I guess the NFL thinks that money grows on trees. And John Mark says, there's no guarantee that Gruden will give the Raiders a Super Bowl win. There's not. Cowboy Wrestler says, if this is the Raiders' last season in Oakland, do you see, and it's not, do you see a 95 Cleveland Browns situation happening at the Raiders' Christmas Eve Monday night game against the Broncos? I'll have to give that thought. John Mark says, even from my way of thinking, it's an impossible dream. Kevin KD says, John Mark says, no guarantee that the Raiders will even be at 500. Ms. Zeitgeist says, it seems like he just wants Gruden to come back for nostalgia. Yes. Well, it's the idea of the Raider mystique and image, and I subscribe to what Mark Davis did. I'm not saying I'm against it. Again, I'm a big John Gruden fan. I consider him a friend. He takes my plays. I like John Gruden a lot. Our birthdays just a few days apart. We're both Leos. I can't say anything bad about John Gruden, period. I tried, but I can't, okay? And so, Kevin Gady says, let Vegas make their own logo. And that's up to the city of Oakland. The city of Oakland and the county of Oakland need to get their economic development act together. Joseph, you want to add anything?
No, this is cool. I was thinking of Charles Woodson. Do you think he could ever be in line to be a coach one day?
If he wants, he's got a great wine. Charles Woodson Winery, fantastic. But I don't know. I have to ask him if I have the pleasure of seeing him, if he wants to be a coach and to the point where he'd go to head coach. Don't know. That's something I really would like to ask him. Kevin KD said he's tired of Gruden. And Mike Forever says 7-3. Yeah. So hey, I will let you go. I'm going to read most of these and then I'm going to sign off at 2:00. And because it's 1:44 a.m. on the East, I think we're both headed for Z-Land at some point, right?
Yeah, sounds good. It was good to talk to you again.
You too, man. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it was cool. Thank you for playing along with the experiment. That worked out really well. Cool. All right, I'll see you. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Hey, folks, that was it. Maybe one day we have this whole party line of people that gets on, and that was cool. Hey, Charles, 475, how are you? Shout out to Meh. And so Kevin KD says, I cried very heavily after the loss of what? Okay. Oh, Kevin KD says, then just add that intellectual property as another remedy that the city would seek in a lawsuit. Oh, interesting. You guys are having an interesting conversation here. What is the conversation that you all are having? Fill me in. Charles is a fan of Golden State Warriors. John Mark says, I remember the Raiders Super Bowl loss. The fans rioted in the streets. Kevin KD said, I cried after Super Bowl 37. And I think the only Super Bowl I got really, really upset about was when the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 13. And I remember when Jackie Smith was wide open for a touchdown, which would have been a 4-yard touchdown pass from Roger Staubach, and he dropped it. And I can see it, just Roger did that sidearm. It went right to Jackie. It was a little lower than it should have been. He took a little off of it, and Jackie tried to go down and get it, and it bounced off. Boom. And that was it. And yeah. And the Pittsburgh Steelers went on to win. But when that happened, when Jackie Smith dropped that pass, I turned the TV off. As Cowboy Wrestler said, he's got to be the sickest man in America. No, I was the sickest boy in America at the time. And Disco Hank, how you doing? Disco Hank says the riot was after the AFC Championship game victory, not the Super Bowl loss, no different than all those Super Bowl celebration riots in Boston. And John Mark says that he was moving to Washington State when the Raiders and Buccaneers played Super Bowl 37. I was there. I remember that was my second Super Bowl, but my first in the post 9/11 era. And I stood in line for 2.5 hours wearing all black in 92-degree, 90% humidity heat in San Diego. Bought about $200 worth of souvenirs, and before I headed in, and I had the souvenirs with me rather than going all the way back to my hotel, which is a bit of a hike, and then coming back because I was in downtown San Diego, and it was at Qualcomm, and for some stupid reason, I bought the souvenirs and then thought I could get them with me, whatever. I get up to the security line, the guy says to me, either we put that bag of souvenirs in the garbage, or you take it back to your car. He assumed I drove. So I didn't want to get in an argument with him. What was the point? I said, okay. I turned around and thought, how am I going to solve this problem, right? So there was a line of Cadillac limousines, and in a parking area off that away, I spotted them. Because there was a empty garbage bin in the middle between them, and I thought, how odd to find an empty garbage bin before a Super Bowl game next to a group of Cadillac limousines, right? So I took a risk. I put my souvenir bag in there, thinking that if I come back, this is what I thought. I swear, Lord's with me. I thought it's going to be a blowout game. So I'll come back. I figured the Raiders are going to blow out the Bucs. I said it's going to be a blowout game. I'll leave at the third quarter and get my souvenirs early. I'll come back, right? So guess what? It was a blowout game. I did leave early, just a little after the third quarter, and my bag was still there. So that's what I remember. I meeting Michael Ovitz from the famous the famous Hollywood agent. I remember running into Don White, the Alameda County Treasurer, who said, and I quote, "What are you doing here?" And Don, you did say that. And I said, my response was, well, Don, I did form the bid to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, even though I lost to Jacksonville. I think that's worth something, don't you? That's what I said. He puffed his cigar and goes, well, nice to see you, Wow. But those are my memories from the Super Bowl. Back to your comments. And so John Mark says, wow, had I known that I would have turned around and headed back to Oakland. Kevin KD says, the fact that Mark Davis bought land in Vegas disqualifies any complaint that he has about Oakland City Council. And even many people cited that he could have gone to certain barrier philanthropists. True. No, I mean, there's a lot. Look, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. There is a wide open case for a gigantic, successful lawsuit. There really is. But after a series of personal exchanges, I'm tired, folks. If I haven't said that, I'm saying it one more time. I am sick and tired of waiting for the city of Oakland to act aggressively. And yes, there are a number of things. There are a number of instances where the Raiders worked behind the back of the city and should not have. There are a number of instances, a large number, where the Raiders worked not in good faith with the city that's suable, without question. But the city and the county have to want to fight, and we don't have a set of people that have expressed collectively that kind of focus. And it is a huge problem. It's not just on that issue, it's on the homeless issue. It's not just on the homeless issue, it's on the affordable housing issue. It's not just on the affordable housing issue, it's the economic development and jobs issue. We have a group that has forgotten, if they ever knew, how to run government, how to use government to fashion tools that counter market forces, as Oakland has done in the past. Okay? It's a big problem. For example, using redevelopment to attract business, and using different types of techniques to attract business and retain businesses. Business retention and attraction is the hallmark activity of a good economic development program. We've got a lousy one. And I saw a presentation given where I think half of this economic development presentation was actually about service delivery, city service delivery to residents. That's not economic development at all. I watched that and I hit the ceiling. That's what we have degenerated to. Okay? So, yeah, we have every right to sue. But we don't have a group of people that understand how to run a government to build stadiums and convention centers to create jobs for the rest of us. It's a sad situation, folks. It really is. So Ms. Zeitgeist says, Mark Davis looked desperate. Black Lion says, I have gotten to the point where I know for a fact about the leadership in Oakland, there's no way I can put this mess on Mark Davis. It's both. Okay, I know that everyone wants a simple answer. Yeah, Oakland's totally bad. It's both. Mark's done things he should have done. The city didn't do anything that it could have done. Much. It reacted, okay? And it's still in that position. It's not doing anything. Black Lion says, these people don't want sports in Oakland, period. Black Lion, it's not so much they don't want sports in Oakland. They don't know how to achieve anything. Sports, economic development, affordable housing, the pillars of, a healthy city. It's just not there. They want to spend a lot of time talking about, President Trump. And I get that. I'm not saying anything that I'm trying to be derisive to my god sister or anything, but I'm being honest about our problems. So you have to, in order to improve, you have to be honest about your problems. Yeah, I've been involved in government in Oakland since technically 86 when I had that internship. And then I wrote a paper when I was at Berkeley called Jumping on the High-Tech Bandwagon Without an E-Ticket, about Oakland's attempt to attract high-tech industry. And I've seen all kinds of situations. I know all kinds of people. And there's a DNA in Oakland that just doesn't want to really make stuff happen. There are individuals that do, like my friend Phil Tagami, for example. But they give Phil a hard time. And and others. So it's whatever. It can only get better. Let me put it that way. The situation can only get better. All right. Ms. Zeitgeist says, Mark is running ads for the new Vegas Stadium in San Diego. Really? Hey, can you send me some examples of that to my email, zenny@zenny62.com? I'm going to stop, by the way, at 2 o'clock, folks. Philly Burns says, and Ray says, are the Athletics leaving the city as well? No. Not at all. Not at all. No. In fact, I'll give you an update on that later in the week. Mike Zulin says, Davis wanted someone else to pay for a stadium. Vegas is 90% his fault. There's John Mark says, no, Philly born and raised. Kevin KD says, Ms. Zeitgeist, that's hilarious and sad, about the news that Mark Davis is running ads in, other places other than the Bay Area. And I think their idea is that, okay, this is California, right? And this is San Francisco up here. This is Los Angeles. Vegas is here. So this is a 2 hour, 3 hour drive versus a 9 hour drive. So they feel like the LA Basin market, they can grab some of that. That's the idea. Hey everybody, welcome to Zenny62, by the way. Great turnout. And John Mark says, game one in Oakland. Yes, it is. In fact, if you go to Oakland News Online, Oakland News, no, excuse me, not Oakland News, Oakland, go to Oakland News Now, oaklandnewsnow.com. oaklandnewsnow.com. Go there, okay? Oh, it's not a live link. Let me try that again. I thought it was going to automatically go live. I'd have to do the HTTP thing with that. Try that. All right. Now that should, yeah, go there. Click on that, and you will see my newest blog. Okay, or you can also, if you want to find out what the content is, I wrote, let's see, Warriors. Let me try something else. NBA Finals, Lake Chalet. Yeah, Lake Chalet NBA Finals. Let me try that. And the reason why is I put some news up there that says, yeah, Warriors beat Rockets 102-92 NBA Finals in Cleveland Cavaliers 1 hour ago. It says, well, get ready, Lake Chalet. That's from my blog. That is from my blog. My wonderful Oakland News Now blog, okay? So, yeah, really proud of that. Really am. Joseph Binsman says, Kevin KD, how about the Reno Raiders? Sounds like kind of. Look, hey, oh, you like them? You like the blog? Thank you. John Mark says, looking sharp, Zenny. Thank you. It's also on Google News. So if you go to Google and type, Oakland News Online, then click on News, you'll see it's in Google News. Or if you type Ira Kaufman Tampa Bay, you can see my article on the fact that Jameis Winston's Uber issue has still not been completed in terms of the NFL investigation after 7 months and counting. What an ugly situation. And not only that, do you realize that, folks, get this, the Kate woman that filed the complaint against Jameis Winston and the Uber situation, that complaint was not to the police. That complaint was not to the police. She didn't go to either the Scottsdale police or Phoenix. You realize that? Okay? All right. Joseph Benson says, did you see that quarterback Josh Freeman retired? That was sad. No, I didn't know that. That is sad. And Charles says, interesting video. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Black Lion Supreme says, wow. Hey, Black Lion, are you saying wow to what I just told you? And Kevin KD says, I got worried when they were denied Carson because I knew that they could leave LA for Oakland again. Yeah. Oh, but Black Lion, were you talking about what I just announced as far as the Winston news? But, again, and then Mike Zulin says, I predict Raiders won't sell out first game in Vegas if they ever get there. I agree. Well, no, I think they will sell out that. But it'll be downhill from there because there's a first, okay? And they're not going to have anything. They're not going to have us that situation. They're going to be the Raiders, Jack Bull, determined to make sure that thing is filled to the rafters. I'm still concerned about the tax situation with the stadium tax with respect to the taxpayers. I'm concerned with the amount of money they can raise to finish the thing. Not that they can't, but I will tell you this. Vegas' success with the Golden Knights helps the Raiders. Don't think this doesn't, okay? We saw Las Vegas coming out party tonight, and it was a fantastic show. There's no other way you can characterize it but to say that it was a fantastic show. And bravo to Las Vegas. As I told my mom, when I look at the people there celebrating, having fun, I think of the 58 who lost their lives in 1 October and how wonderful it is to see Las Vegas have something to celebrate without fear yet again. I really do. Black Lion says, you have to be the leadership in Oakland. We have to force the city council to take action. We're talking about malcontent. You're right. And Philly Born says the Raiders will regret moving to Las Vegas if they aren't winning. Winning will not draw well. Right. The Vegas fan base will be a front-runner fan base, just like the LA fan base. That's right. That's why the whole Golden Knights situation, as exciting as it is to watch, is an aberration because the Golden Knights are winning. What happens when the Golden Knights don't win? That will be the real test of the market. It really will. And I think that if the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup, they'll have another 2-3 years of sellouts and great fun until, if they start losing, the losing saps their excitement from the first year. But when I built my stadium models for sports business simulations in my company, we made online simulations of sports organizations for use in the classroom, I determined that a new stadium in professional sports generally had what I call a 3-year novelty period. That 3 years, that stadium would sell out, gain great sponsorship contracts that would last the years beyond that. But after that 3 years, a lot of it was dependent on marketing and team performance. And if you didn't have those two down, and other factors like location, you were in trouble. My model for that was the San Francisco Giants. The perfect combination of stadium design, location, team performance and success, which leads to team front office acumen, right? That was the perfect combination, and of course the right sprinkling in of city economic development assistance. Perfect. That's the gold standard, which is what makes the need for Oakland to make Howard Terminal happen so important. They have the opportunity, and we have the opportunity in Oakland to do that. And Mike Zuna says, Vegas should not steal our team, never going back there. Kevin Gadi says, hopefully they don't end up like the Florida Panthers. Rob Iman says, Arizona Coyotes will likely be located in Houston. Mark Davis, John Marks wants Mark Davis to zip it. I think that we have to start thinking in Oakland of a secret plan to build sports in Oakland and make it secret right now and then unroll it, Oh, Charles, you sub? Charles 475 sub. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you. Folks, it is 2:04. Oh, Kevin Way Russell loves AT&T. It's 2:04. I am going to, as they say, shuffle off the Buffalo. Remember, tomorrow, I ask you, I implore you to come back at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. Oakland mayoral candidate and Oakland tax consultant Nancy Sidebottom will be my guest. And I'm telling you, and I promise you, a colorful and interesting 1 hour with a person I've known for some time who has a lot to say about the city of Oakland. I'm looking forward to your questions and your being here. All right? Nancy Sidebottom. Tomorrow. All right, I'll see everybody. Oh, John Marks, you got questions? Awesome. I may even try that phone experiment thing with one of you having come and have a conversation, right? But no, I'm not going to do that because, as I've always promised candidates for mayor, that this will be their platform, so they do most of the talking. All right, I'll see you all, everybody. Remember, you bet your last money that horror movies are the thing you should always see. I'm sorry, John. I'm kind of twisting that around. Horror movies. Keep America strong. You got to watch them. All right. guy. See you guys. Thanks again. Thank you, everybody. And please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Thank you, Black Lion. Thank you, everybody. Watch God. Wait, is there a Godzilla promo out for next year's movie? Ooh. Good night, everybody. Good night. See ya. Invest in Zenny62. I'll see you guys. Thanks. Thank you.